Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We have a AMA with Joe Marsh, the CEO of T1, who is going to shed some light, of course, on the Zeus situation, and additionally a response from Zeus. I'm going to read through the AMA, and then I'm going to give my thoughts after the fact. I do recommend that everybody out there, you should be careful with not letting yourself be too swayed with the wind, because obviously, everything just because something is louder doesn't mean it's right. I'm saying this without knowing what's coming out of this AMA. I just think it's important that we try to be as partial as possible in this situation, and also understand that probably we won't get to the truth of it. But I'm sure with the allegations that were raised and some of the things that were mentioned in the previous video and the previous post, I'm sure a lot of that is going to be addressed today. So let's take a look at it. That is the game source. Let's remove the game source. Boom. Display capture. And there we go. We're in the loop. I made sure that it's a black screen because the webpage FM Korea is just a flashbang. So let's take a look at it. So this just came up, but is it true that T1 couldn't even meet the 2 billion Korean won that Han Yi Chinese streamer mentioned? Is it true that T1 could not agree to terms with Zeus to meet his demand of 2 billion Korean won as Han Yi's Chinese streamer mentioned? That is not true. We were never given the opportunity to match any offer. Additionally, the agent did not present any counter offers to the proposals we had sent. Okay. Can you just show how much Zeus is getting paid by signaling with your fingers? You'd have to ask Zeus, or better yet, try his agent if you can actually get him on the table. So I guess this is a little bit of a dig in terms of what we found out the last time, that there was a deadline set and T1 couldn't even travel to the location to speak with Zeus himself. It's good to hear that it's good for people to go to the front door. How much was Zeus's offer from T1? It would not be appropriate for me to disclose the specific details of Zeus's offer from T1. What I can share is that we aim to give each of our players the top salary in their respective position. With this goal as our foundation, we negotiated with all player agents, including Zeus's. Throughout the process, however, Zeus's agent did not provide us with a single counter proposal. When he, the agent, visited our office on Friday, he openly stated that he had nothing to say, which struck us as unusual for someone whose role is to negotiate contracts. After signing the 3 players, we even submitted an additional proposal, despite knowing that rule number 1 of negotiations is not to keep presenting offers without a response. That makes a lot of sense. Yet again, there was no counter proposal or clear communication from the agent. However, in keeping with the mentioned aim, we were willing to match any offer for Zeus. If the agent had communicated his client's specific desires from the beginning, this process could have been much smoother. I think, guys, I know that I said that I'm going to leave my thoughts to the end, but if this is the case, it just sounds like Zeus never wanted to re-sign with T1 at all, if this is true. It just sounds like he wanted to leverage T1 to get as good as an offer from Our Life, because it just seems like they were stringing along T1 to get as good of an offer as possible. How much was the difference in the offer amounts between T1 and How Life Esports for Zeus? Again, in keeping with our aim of giving each of our players the top salary in his position, we were fully prepared to match any offer Zeus received. But unfortunately, we're not given the opportunity to do so by his agent. The agent imposed an artificial deadline, claiming it was set by How Life. However, after Zeus made his decision to leave, we spoke with How Life. And they confirmed that no such deadline was ever established. In my opinion, someone is not being truthful in this situation. Having worked with How Life for many years, I trust their word regarding what was said. It's disheartening that such tactics played a role in the process, as we believed Zeus deserved transparency and fairness in making such an important decision about his future. I am most curious about the exact details and process of Zeus's departure. When was the decision made? I'd also like to know how the other players reacted and what the atmosphere within the team is like. From our standpoint, Zeus made his decision on the first day of free agency period. Throughout the time leading up to that day, we had to get the impression that we were getting closer to an agreement until the mood suddenly changed around noon that day. As for how the other players reacted and the atmosphere within the team, we believe those conversations should be remained private out of respect for everyone involved. Very, very classy. I think that is, the right way to do that. How does it feel to send a sacred bone? How does it feel to let go of a true homegrown talent? In this context, refers to Zeus, who rose from T1's youth team to main roster. I wouldn't categorize Zeus's departure as T1 letting him go. We wanted Zeus to remain with T1 for many years to come and made every effort to make that happen. However, as is every player's right, he ultimately chose to leave. Naturally, we're all deeply disappointed by his decision. We believe that the environment we've built at T1, the resources we provide, and the way we treat our players make this the best place in the world for a League of Legends player to thrive. While it's hard to see him go, we respect his choice and wish him the best in the next chapter of his career. So I repeat with what was said here before, it does seem like Zeus made the decision that he didn't want to re-sign with T1. Previous re-signing for Zeus have been quite tumultuous, and always he was the last one to sign. And it just seems like they kind of strung T1 along to get the better offer from Humble Life. That's just how it seems. Not the other way around, that Humble Life is being strung around to get the better offer out of T1. I'm curious about the behind-the-scenes stories from the off-season involving Zeus and Doran. The stories around Zeus's departure are covered by other answers. As for Doran, when we interviewed him, he said that he'd always admired T1, that his favorite style of playing aggressively can be better suited on T1. On another note, we always thought highly of Doran because of the sheer amount of practice he put in. When analyzing our opponents, he always stood out as the one who practiced the most. And this is interesting because it gives some light as to why Doran, as a player, has been on Gen G, has been on How Life too. And while Doran can look very goofy in set games and die in very silly ways, he is still a player that has won a championship on How Life and has won a championship on, of course, Gen G too. And I think that in those LCK victories, he was instrumental. It is just his international play that, of course, is lacking. But maybe he is the player that's going to bring them balance, because Zeus, for example, for the majority of Spring, didn't look so solid, right? So that's something worth to point out. What do you think was the biggest factor in losing Zeus? The biggest factor in losing Zeus, in my view, I have to say, this interviewer is cold. He's just asking the questions that everybody wants the answer to. In my view, was the influence of his agent and their agency. This particular group has a history of prioritizing financial gain over a broader perspective of what's truly best for the player. That approach often overlooks key factors like team legacy, player development, and long-term career success. Unfortunately, the tactics and gamesmanship used in this situation were not consistent with how professional agents typically operate. While the agents have since called to apologize. Oh! The agent apologized? He apologized? I believe that the gesture was more about saving face than genuine sincerity. Actions speak louder than words, and their behavior in this matter revealed their true character. It's worth noting that T1 provided an environment where Zeus thrived, contributing to back-to-back world championships. We met all the criteria for a player of his caliber, both in terms of competitive success and career growth. This is the same agency that attempted to move Zeus to China last year for a higher payday, and it was only through Zeus's own initiative, reaching out to Koma, that he ultimately stayed with T1. Oh my days. Oh my days. That is a hammer drop. Damn. This pattern of prioritizing financial incentives over what's best for the player's overall future is concerning. While we respect Zeus' decision, it's unfortunate that the influence of an agency played such a significant role in this outcome. Wow, he apologized. How do you feel after the breakup of ZOFGK? It's always tough when a chapter ends, especially one as legendary as this. Zeus, Owner, Fager, Gumyushi, and Korea have not only been the greatest roster in T1 history, but also the greatest roster of all time in esports. What they've accomplished together over the past 3 years has been nothing short of incredible, and it's been an honor to witness their journey. Zeus's decision to leave T1 is one I respect deeply. While it's sad to see him go, he'll always have a home here at T1. Now, this is crucial. These words here are crucial, but I don't know how true they're going to be, considering with how much of T1's merchandising and how Zeus was kind of ripped from the picture. And I feel like this is kind of planting a seed to make sure that Zeus doesn't get like backlash through the situation. And it's like extending an olive branch because it does seem in the language that Joe Marsh is just very angry with the agent and understands that Zeus is still a very, very young person that, of course, is capable of maybe making mistakes in his eye. I'm saying in his eye in particular because maybe it's not a mistake, right? If Zeus wants this, then that is his choice, of course, and that is something that even Joe Marsh mentions. Like every player who's been a part of this organization, he's left an indelible mark on our history, and we'll always celebrate the memories we've created together. This team has brought us so much pride and joy to T1 and to fans around the world. While their paths may now diverge, their legacy will live on forever. I'm immensely grateful for the moments they gave us. I'll cherish them always. Thank you, Zeus, and thank you to this team for being more than just players. They've been family. And something that I want to highlight is, I think the crazy aspect about this roster in particular is, of course, their World Championships. I think when you look back at previous SKT rosters, I think that if you look at them in isolation for what they did in a year, I do think that there are rosters that were better than this one. Like 2015, SKT was just amazing on so many levels, and 2014, bled into 2015. Obviously, the roster changed, but it's always in isolation. I think the beauty of this roster is the fact that they stuck together for so damn long, and T1 found a way to make that happen. And I think that's a big part of the disappointment. What makes this potentially one of the greatest rosters of all time is the fact that they stuck together. There's many rosters that were so dominant in a year, and then coming into next year, we had players disappearing, leaving, and we couldn't see any continuation of the story. This is basically a TV show with many seasons. All the other cool shows, they had half a season in some cases. Think about, for example, the Down One roster, or let's think about, let's say, the JDG roster, right? As an example. But now, looking at the ecosystem, it's kind of cool that we are seeing Bilibili stay together. We're seeing the core of Genji staying together. Maybe people are recognizing the strength of sticking together through thick and thin. All right. Is there a significant difference in the size of the deal offered to Zeus by T1 and Hanwha? All right. Back to the questions. If given the chance, we would have matched any offer for Zeus, even if it was just for a 1-year deal. We were told he wanted the long-term security. We were ready to work to make that happen. However, we were not given the opportunity to match any offers presented to him. It really sounds like the thing where they were driving to him and there was a deadline, was really, really there. But yeah, there is like partial blame that, and it just sounds like this agent was stringing T1 along the entire time just to get a better offer out of Hanwha Life. And they were trying to make T1 outbid Hanwha Life blindly, and through that get more money. It just seems to be so money-centric. Did T1 actually sit down at the negotiation table with Zeus? Was it that you couldn't retain him, or that you chose not to? You had time to release exclusive articles but couldn't secure Zeus. We submitted multiple proposals during the process, but we never received a counter proposal from Zeus's agent. On Tuesday, we were told both the agent and Zeus would come to T1 HQ to finalize the deal. However, the agent never showed up and instead closed the deal elsewhere without ever sitting down at the table to negotiate with us directly. As for the article, it was published after Zeus had already made his decision. We knew how much the T1 fandom cherished Zeus and the Zufke roster, and we felt it was important to communicate the truth directly to our fans. Allowing Joe to speak with the reporter was a deliberate choice to prevent misinformation or internet rumors from spreading, which could have hurt Zeus and his family. Our intention was always to provide clarity and transparency with the fans who have supported us passionately. How quickly was Doran signed? As soon as we were notified that Zeus would be signing with HLE, Becker and Josh reached out to Doran's agency and quickly finalized the deal. Doran showed tremendous appreciation for everything T1 offers, as an organization was eager to be a part of T1, which made it easy to come to terms on a deal that worked for both sides. We hope that fans give Doran all the love and support as he joins the T1 family. Doran is probably getting paid peanuts, man. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I think they could have sat him down and said, Doran, you are going to get a bag of peanuts, and you have access to our cafeteria, and we're going to give you a food stipend when we go to international events. You're here on an internship, and you're going to play top lane for us. And he would have signed. So I hope they were nice to him. I hope they were nice to him. Could you share the direction T1 had in mind for this offseason? The goal this offseason was to bring back Zeus, Owner, Gumyushi, and Korea. And so doing, we aim to give each player the top salary in his respective position. Was there any conflict between Zeus and T1 during the Stove League contract process? I'm also curious about why Zeus's photos were being removed so quickly. From T1's perspective, there was no conflict with Zeus during the contract process. Our frustration lies with how his agent handled the negotiation. Despite our multiple proposals, the agent never responded with a counteroffer. Even if the counterbundle was something unattainable, like 4 billion Korean won, it would have at least allowed for a discussion. The agent had assured us that he and Zeus would visit T1 HQ between 10 a.m. and noon to finalize the deal. However, they never arrived. At that point, Josh and Becker made the decision to drive out to meet and negotiate with Zeus and his agent in person, to no avail. Regarding Zeus's photos being removed, with his decision to sign with HLE, T1 no longer retains his rights. As such, we had to update our online platforms and facilities accordingly. That makes a lot of sense, right? I think that's something that is very believable. Could you share the behind-the-scenes details of contract renewals for Owner, Gumyushi, and Korea? On the day of signing, Korea had shaved head for the military, so we went to his home. Both Owner and Gumyushi came to the T1 HQ to expedite the negotiations along with their agents, which showed their eagerness to get the signing done. I'm curious about the process of signing Doran and what you expect from him. Signing Doran was a very smooth and straightforward process. We want to join T1 and values what we have as an organization. We expect Doran to perform at the highest level and uphold legacy. Okay. That said, we don't expect Doran to be Zeus. He's his own man who should be judged based on his results at T1, not compared to his performance on other teams. I remember when we announced the Zufke roster in winter of 2021, many people were concerned about Zeus stepping into the roster for Kana, questioning whether he would be able to succeed. Fast forward 3 years, and that group made history together. My point is this: trust Koma, Tom, Faker, Owner, Gumyushi, and Korea, and Mata to come together and compete at the highest level. We believe in their ability, and we hope our fans will do as well. Good words. The issue that arises in Zeus' transfer due to the negotiation approach taken by the agents and the player was that approach centered around creating pressure with a fixed deadline. The issue surrounding our negotiations with Zeus stemmed entirely from the approach taken by his agent. In any negotiation, it's customary to provide counteroffers and maintain open dialogue, none of which occurred in this case. Instead, we were met with silence regarding our proposals. Negotiations typically start at a reasonable point, allow room for compromise, but the agent's approach was far from standard. From what we learned, the artificial deadline the agent references was something he created, not the other team. While agents are free to use their own negotiation tactics, throughout this process, T1 was not treated with the respect one would expect for the organization that raised Zeus since 2019. Instead, it felt as though we were treated like strangers, or worse, like a bottom-tier team with no standing to sign as client. This lack of respect was disappointing, particularly given Zeus' history in connection with T1. To add insult to injury, we were indeed surprised to see a sudden about-face in the tone. Throughout the entire negotiation, Zeus' agent kept insisting that he wanted to stay at T1 and that they wanted him to stay as well. Even on the opening day of free agency until 1 p.m., we felt like we were approaching an agreement, and the agent and we were going to finalize the deal after lunch. Then suddenly at 1:50 p.m., the agent called to tell us that Zeus decided to go to HLE. It's important to note that we had no such issue with the agents representing the other 3 players. Even when disagreements arose regarding terms, those agents kept the dialogue open and worked collaboratively toward a deal. By contrast, the agent representing Zeus did not operate in a way that indicated any deal desire to reach an agreement with T1. Could you please provide the current state of T1's League of Legends Challengers roster? With the Legacy roster finalized, Becker is working on a CL roster. He has signed a new top laner so far and is looking to sign others soon. Becker, my goat. Seemed like there was a strong determination from T1 to maintain the roster, so I'm curious about the reason behind losing Zeus. Alright. At the end of the day, each player has the personal rights to decide whether they want to stay with T1. While they had a strong desire to maintain the roster, the final decision ultimately rests with the players. Especially for the players at T1, they are not just athletes, they are individual businesses with families to support. Each player must weigh what matters most to them, and we hope that aligns with what wanting to remain part of T1. Our role is to make a compelling case for as to why T1 is the best place for them to play and grow. Beyond that, it is up to the players to make the decision. Very, very true. Very, very true. That is what it is. As for the broader context, in my opinion, the introduction of the SFR was designed to promote parity in the LCK, making it difficult for iconic rosters like T1's, this is the salary cap, Z of GK to stay together. While we respect the intent behind the system, it does create challenges for the teams trying to maintain consistent legitimacy. I would imagine the T1 probably offered like a percentage cut off of the merch that would be created out of this legacy roster, right? I think that's a way to kind of circumvent everything, but probably comes with some contingencies that you need to, be in T1 if you want to, get that level of ownership for the rest of your life, right? If T1 is not lacking in the transfer funds compared to HLE, why was Zeus let go? All right. So a lot of the same questions. And is there any behind the scenes reason why only Gomushi was given a 1-year contract? Gomushi thrives on betting on himself, and having a 1-year deal keeps him motivated and hungry. He has an exceptional mindset and is incredibly mentally strong. I deeply respect how he carried himself both on and off the rift. His maturity is truly beyond his years. Guma is the embodiment of T1. He bleeds red and black, and his commitment to the team is unwavering. Even how Gumayushi responded to the Zeus post really made the situation feel a lot more light, and I thought that was super cool. There are rumors that Zeus' agent dragged out the negotiation process until the very end of Kiin's negotiations, avoiding meetings to jack up the salary. Is this true? I cannot confirm those rumors without concrete proof. During the Stove League, it's often difficult to separate facts from speculation. That said, if the agent truly wanted to finalize the deal with T1, he had every opportunity to do so. Well, is the only reason Zeus left because of money? Were there any other demands from Zeus besides money? Excuse me. We were initially told that Zeus was interested in a long-term contract, but that's not the agreement he ultimately signed. Throughout the process, we were never presented with specific demands because the agent never countered any of our proposals. Instead, we were left to play a guessing game, with the agent frequently shifting the terms, particularly around the contract length. What was most frustrating, however, was the lack of transparency. We value honesty and believe that our word is our bond. To be told that they would come to our HQ on the first day of free agency to work on a deal, only for the agent to do the opposite, was incredibly disappointing. Something that I can add here, right? When he's mentioning transparency, it's like basically you just talk through your process. That is transparency. And let's say I, as a coach, I want to join 3 different teams, and the team is talking to me. I would say I currently have interest from other teams, and I'm currently evaluating those options. How would you react to this information? Maybe they tell me we have a deadline to press. We need to sign somebody else because he's getting away from us. And then the negotiation process starts. There is no reason to hold back that information unless you're trying for a very specific squeeze. Like you basically, if you already know what you want and you want to leverage the interests of everybody else to get a better deal, this is when it becomes very deceptive. That's why my first reaction was instantly, I do believe that Zeus had every intention to leave T1 the entire time. And I think they would just try to leverage T1 to get the best HLE deal possible. Was it already decided that Doran would be joining as T1's top laner? We initiated discussion with Doran only after being informed of Zeus' departure. Given the strength of our roster, it was essential to bring in a top lane with significant experience and a proven track record in high-stakes matches. Doran's... Ooh. I think this one is funny to me because a lot of the T1 fans tell me that only Worlds matters. And I feel like the LCK teams and everybody that plays in the LCK, they also care about LCK results. And also about MSI results. Worlds is very cool. Don't get me wrong, very cool. But obviously, this is being said with his achievements in the LCK. When you look at the process of Canyon transferring to Genji or Ruler transferring to JG, it seems like they left with a good reason, even though existing teams would have predicted it through interviews, videos, and situations inside and outside of the team. Compared to the two players who left the previous teams relatively amicably because they had a strong desire to challenge themselves as professional gamers that also knew well what the position they held in the previous teams and what they meant to the fans, Zeus's reason for transfer is so sudden that it's difficult to understand. If the transfer was for money, it is not understandable since the transfer was made despite the CEO announcing a new contract that was good news of a new sponsor. If he was hungry for a new challenge, T1 fans wonder if it was worth giving up his franchise status as T1 youth to take on the challenge. Can you explain to T1 fans why Zeus, T1 superstar player, transferred to a domestic rival? The reason for Zeus's transfer is harder to understand. It's a few sudden. If it was for money, it was hard to accept since the CEO publicly announced the re-signing. It was also good news of a new sponsor being secured. If it was for new challenge, T1 fans are curious whether it was worth leaving his franchise-like position. Can you explain to T1 fans why Zeus, a T1 homegrown superstar, moved to a domestic rival team? I honestly can't answer the question. It's only something Zeus himself can truly explain. From our perspective, T1 offers everything a professional player would want: a championship-winning environment, unparalleled resources, and a global platform to grow both as an athlete and as a brand. T1 also provides opportunities that extend beyond the game, helping players build a legacy. On top of that, no team in the world can match the passion and scale of T1's fandom. Our fans are the cornerstone of what makes T1 so special, offering unmatched support and energy both online and in arenas around the world. For a player like Zeus, who rose through system and became a superstar, I believe that continuing with Zufke would be the natural choice. It is difficult for me to speculate on why Zeus chose to move on, and I don't think it would be fair to him to do so. What I do know is that Zufke roster was the greatest team of all time, and I truly felt they could continue the historic run of success. It is sad that this incredible chapter has come to a premature end, but I will always cherish what this team accomplished together and respect the legacy they leave behind. Whoa. This is a block of question. Honestly, this is an unreasonable situation. It seems like someone intentionally withheld information. I wonder what you as CEO did. What did you want to do in the first place? Isn't it because someone's incompetence that the winning team escaped? It seems like there was an intentional neglect from the beginning. How would you explain this? Do you watch LoL matches in the first place? What efforts do you make to improve the skills or relationships of the players? Please put on a lie detector and answer whether you would choose between the company's profits and the player's victory. Oh my days! Oh my days! Someone brought the heat. Because this is a very interesting question. A very, very common topic that comes up is how much, and how overworked are the T1 players to promote the brand? Because keep in mind, they got DDoSed. Because otherwise, they would have to stream a shit ton. And they're always doing events, always doing press conferences, always doing videos, always doing stuff. These guys seem to never rest. All right. Our goal from the beginning was to re-sign all the players and keep the legendary roster together. We are fully committed to maintaining this team in incredible synergy. They have their own information, motivation, needs, and circumstances. Yes, I watch League of Legends extensively, 6 hours of scrims daily in all the matches. Watching that much league is how I stay in tune with the team's pulse, and I speak with Becker every day to ensure we're aligned on what the players need. Winning is always my top priority. Keep in mind as well, it's like, as the CEO, his knowledge on League or him keeping on the pulse of the roster when he has a GM like Becker, a CEO, and so forth, there are roles within the team. And most of the time, the CEO needs to manage like the budget, the business side, needs to make sure that in the long term things make sense and hire very competent people. That's why a part of this question is like almost, too much of a jab. For example, I personally winning is always my top priority. And I speak with Becker every day to ensure we're aligned on what the players need. For example, I personally made the decision to stop streaming when DDoS attacks were affecting the players. This decision cost the company a significant revenue stream, but I prioritize protecting the mental health and focus of our players. At T1, we provide extensive support for our players, including access to mental health coach, doctors, trainers, physical therapists, and a team chef. We take pride in creating an environment where our players can focus on performing at the best both on and off the Rift. The article says that they raised the annual salary to a certain extent and proposed 1+1, but what was the situation so bad that they couldn't extend the contact period? Likewise, the article states that T1 said Zeus agency has negotiated deadline at 3 and waited for their opinion until 3:40. I would like to know if this is true, and if the article came out as if Zeus's agency was making a firm demand, can't you even do this? And T1 was trying to cut it down somehow. The current situation is that T1 can't even match Zeus to that level, and I think this part needs to be resolved. Given the chance, we were ready to negotiate, match any offer for Zeus to keep the roster intact. However, we were not given the opportunity. The agent created an unofficial deadline, and we knew we were driving to meet them. Despite this, he made the decision to sign elsewhere before we arrived. Additionally, the night before, the agent informed us that he and Zeus would be at our HQ between 10 a.m. and noon to finalize the deal, but they never showed up. Based on these actions, I would advise against taking anything this agent says at face value. Did Zeus agency drag out the process? Okay, after Zeus decided to leave, we spoke with our coaches and asked who they would prefer, and Doran was that person. I trust Koma, Tom, and one more coach to be announced to maximize Doran's potential. Mata. Was Zeus' departure based on his personal decision? Okay, we already know. Could you please evaluate Doran? We already know. Alright, we already know. There are rumors that Gumayushi was dissatisfied with his own performance, decided to keep his salary unchanged. Is this true? The rumor that Gumayushi was dissatisfied with his performance and chose to keep his salary unchanged is not accurate. However, Gumayushi embodies the spirit of a champion. His determination, blah, 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 we already know. He's the best. Fantastic. Could you tell me the exact terms of the final contract offer made to Zeus? We are still waiting for his agent to give us a counteroffer. We are still waiting for his agent to give a counteroffer. That is hilarious. The coaching staff. Wait, what does this mean? It's a big deal. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. It's 3 times, 5 times, 5 times. I don't know what that happens. All right. I think it's just some weird translation from Mandarin, I believe. I'm curious about your thoughts on the performance of the CL, Teams, and Sela. All right, I'm not too interested in that right now. Is there any chance Zeus will come back in the future? Zeus will forever be part of the T1 family. His contribution to our history is unforgettable. It's a home for the players, both past and present. We've considered taking care of those who've been part of our journey, from legends like Wolf and Boxer to others like Untara, Bengi, and Tom. Zeus has earned his place in T1's legacy, and it would be an honor to welcome him back if he ever chooses to return. Did you get in touch with Zeus during the meeting? Becker and Josh were in touch with Zeus. Becker's CEO is on the same page, right? Why does T1 consistently insist on 1+1 year contract? Is it due to Vegas contract or is it team's overall policy? Contract is personal preference by the players and the agents. Historically, players always had 1-year contracts with option years. It's been only in recent years where players signed multi-year contracts. A lot of the time, the players like short-term deals to see what the market looks like. If Zeus had gone to JDG last year, who do you think the team would have signed as a top laner? Zeus. This is Zeus. Zeus' pick. What? During the re-signing process of Zeus, is there any instances of tampering or illegal actions from Zeus or Hanwha? We can't confirm or deny this happened, so it wouldn't be appropriate for me to speculate on it. During the recent re-signing, why was Gumayushi given a 1-year contract? He wanted it, okay. Would you consider using Roach as a coach on a temporary basis until he goes for a social service? He has already begun his service and has to complete it before he can coach again. Once he finished, we would always welcome him back to T1. Is it true that you prefer not to have CV Max as a coach or head coach? There are no suitable candidates on the market. Would you consider him? I'm happy with the coaches we have. I'm not sure CV Max would be a good fit for T1. I wish him well. I think the current... Okay. All right. That's it. A couple of comments, maybe. I read it well. Overall, this couldn't have happened before. I thought it was the same transfer agent, so it seemed like something went wrong somewhere, but it seems like it was the agency. If Joe March claims it's true, the other party knows that the price is higher than the market price. They can sell it for that much more. Think of people who don't make clear offer price when making a deal and just make a preemptive offer. All right, if you want something, you have to say it, though. Isn't that what negotiating is about? Guys, I'm telling you guys. I'm based on this information, I think Zeus wanted to leave T1 all along. That's what it seems like. They were stringing T1 along, and they would be in a worse position if they told T1 Zeus doesn't want to play for your organization. And I want to say as well, for everybody out there that think that they know the group, that they know the players, it's the same as any other celebrity. You don't know them. You don't know what they go through on a daily basis. You don't know the personality. Everything that is being shown to you is the most filtered version to sell a brand. The players are aware, T1 is aware, this is how you run a business. Everything that happens within the team that might come across as negative is kept inside the team. Both to protect the brand, but also because some things, when they come out unfiltered, people are going to judge them wrong. And that matters too. That matters so much. So the reason for why Zeus wanted to leave, maybe we'll never find out. Maybe there were some things about the team that just tired him, exhausted him, and he just didn't want to continue anymore. And that is his choice. And it just seems to me like Zeus made that decision and they strung along T1 for as long as possible to make the Hanwha life as massive as possible. That's what it seems like. And the reason why Zeus wanted to leave, probably we'll never find out. The final thing we have here, the Zeus agent, the play SPG, introduction to the announcement of the position on the transfer-related issue of Zeus. I'm the play, the agency. He's not even saying his name. I do believe this is Gorilla's brother. First of all, I would like to express my deep gratitude to the fans who always support. I'm sorry for causing concern to the fans due to the recent transfer-related issue. We are going to announce a statement to correct misunderstandings by delivering accurate facts and tell the truth about Zeus and our position. Prior to this, I would like to inform you to the following. We recognize that the controversy is spreading due to what has been announced through T1's AMAs. However, many of the facts that T1 claims are exaggerated or untrue. We will explain them in detail through our statement, and as soon as possible, we sincerely ask you to refrain from making any reckless accusation against Zeus until then. Thank you. Well, it seems like people are upset at you, right? But the truth is, how people view agents doesn't matter. Who cares? Because there could be a world where the agent got exactly what Zeus wanted here. The best possible offer on Hanwha life. And if the agent tanks all of that in the process, it is what it is, you know? Why would the agent care? But it just seems to me that Zeus wanted to leave T1 all alone. I'm curious to see the response from here. I am really. The main thing that is weird to me still, I mentioned in the other video, is like, why on earth here is like, what is this agency and why is Zeus with them? That part is so strange, you know. I feel like the profile of Zeus should be, you know, really working with some really high-end agencies, you know. Okay, we will wait for the response. My thoughts about this I already mentioned. I think the big one still, right, is you know, the big one is still, I really don't think that Zeus wanted to stay in T1. That's how it seems like. That's how it seems like. Yeah, that's it. That's it. We read through the AMA. I'm trying to remember if there's anything else that stood out that was crazy. I feel like we addressed everything. They really wanted to keep Zeus. They only negotiated with Zeus because they thought they could do it in good faith and that they had, you know, full open information. You know, if they reveal all their cards, you expect them to also play ball, and then it seems somewhere along the line they realize, oh, they're talking to Hanwha Life too. They weren't open with us. That we could have told them that we are willing to match anything Hanwha Life offers. What do you need from us? No counter proposal, nothing. It's really all the signs are pointing to the fact that this agent is just, you know, venting, the deal with T1 for the sake of just leveraging a better deal with Hanwha Life. I think T1 should put the agent on a deadline to clarify and to send a statement. Let's see. There's already deadline tweets under the post. They're using Zeus as a shield. They made a statement yesterday as well regarding this, saying that if there's more sliding on the player, they will take action and post a timeline to defend the player's reputation. It's been radio silence since. And now the T1 is accusing them, they are hiding behind a 20-year-old kid. The Korean PR classic. Companies shielding behind the artist player. Zeus should drop that agency ASAP. Alright. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. This was one of the longer videos, but we needed to read through the entire AMA. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace and only love. All the best to all of you. Thank you for watching. Bless you and bless your face. Peace.